Hi, I'm John. After my difficult divorce at 30, raising my daughter, Emma, became my whole world. She was all I had, and in many ways, I was all she had too. The bond we shared grew strong as we faced life's challenges together, just the two of us. Dad, you don't have to give up dating forever, Emma would tease, half joking but half serious too. I'd laugh, ruffle her hair, and say, "What? Miss our Friday movie nights?" Never. But deep down, I knew she was right. It had been years, and maybe it was time for a change. That's when Emily entered the picture. She was a breath of fresh air, another single parent navigating the ups and downs of raising a child. Her son, Jake, was about the same age as Emma, but they couldn't have been more different. Emma was focused and responsible. Jake, on the other hand, was more carefree, always chasing the next thrill. I met Emily at a school function. We bonded over the trials of single parenting. "It's not easy, is it?" she sighed, watching Jake dart through the crowd, mischief in his eyes. "No, but it's everything," I replied, catching a glimpse of Emma helping younger kids with their projects. Emily and I started seeing each other, coffee dates while the kids were at school, dinners with the four of us on weekends. I admired how devoted she was to Jake, though sometimes her leniency with him gave me pause. But love, it has a way of softening those concerns, doesn't it? "Dad, are you sure about this?" Emma asked one evening as she paused her college applications, concern knitting her brow. "Emily's great. And Jake? He'll settle down," I reassured her, though I was hoping more than believing. As our relationship deepened, moving in together seemed like the next logical step. We became a blended family, trying to maintain who we were while becoming something new. But I had no idea the challenges that lay ahead. I've always been a planner, setting money aside for Emma's college since the day she was born. It wasn't just about her education, it was her future. One day, Emily and I were talking over coffee. "That's really admirable, John," she said. "I wish I could say the same for Jake. I just want him to be happy." "Of course, happiness is important, but so is structure," I replied, glancing out the window. Emma was in the yard, trying to help Jake with a science project, but he seemed more interested in his phone. Emily sighed, a bit defensive. "He's had a tough time. I don't want to push him too hard, especially after his dad wasn't around. But don't you think giving him everything without earning it could teach the wrong lesson?" "Everyone has their own style of parenting, John," Emily said softly. "Maybe we can find a middle ground." But her tone suggested compromise wasn't on the horizon. Weeks passed, and our differences became more pronounced, especially as Jake's 16th birthday approached. He'd been hinting that he wanted a car. "Everyone at school has one," Emily argued one night as we looked over finances. "Emma's been saving for her own car with money from her part-time job. Maybe Jake could do something similar," I suggested, hoping to encourage a bit of responsibility. Emily's face hardened. "It's not the same. Jake needs this from us." One evening, as Emma and I were discussing her college plans, she brought it up. "Dad, are you sure Jake should be getting a car right now? What about the college fund?" "Don't worry, sweetheart. That money's safe. It's for your education." I had no idea of the storm brewing just ahead. The day of Jake's birthday party, everything changed. Amid the celebration, Emily revealed a brand new car for Jake, complete with a red bow. My heart sank as the realization hit me. The money I had painstakingly saved for Emma's future was gone, spent on a luxury Jake hadn't earned. "Emily, what have you done?" I whispered, the betrayal stinging. "It's just money, John. We can save again." "Jake needed this," she fired back, her words cutting deeper than I thought possible. I stood there, watching the pieces of our blended family fall apart. The foundation we had tried to build was crumbling, destroyed by indulgence and conflicting values. As the room bustled with the sound of laughter, I realized that some divides are simply too wide to cross. Emily beamed, gesturing toward the car. "Isn't it amazing? Jake loves it." My stomach churned. "Emily, how did we pay for this?" "The price tag." I couldn't finish the sentence. Her smile faltered. "I used some savings. It was the only way." "Savings? What savings, Emily?" She avoided my gaze, her voice barely a whisper. "The money for Emma's college." "John, I thought we could replenish it. Jake needed this now." The noise of the party faded as her words hit me like a punch to the gut. "You used Emma's college fund?" "The $30,000 I saved for her future." Emily reached for my arm, her eyes pleading. She has time. We can save it again. But Jake, he needed this boost. I pulled away, my heart heavy. He needed a car more than my daughter needed her future secured. How could you make that decision without even talking to me? Guests were starting to notice the tension. John, not now. We'll talk later, Emily whispered, her eyes darting around the room. No, I said, my voice rising. We'll talk now. This isn't about money, Emily. It's about trust. It's about the decisions we make that affect our kids' futures. Eyes turned toward us as the party atmosphere shifted. The confrontation was unavoidable now. Emily's face reddens, a mix of embarrassment and anger. Maybe both. This isn't just your decision to make. I trusted you, Emily. How do you plan to fix this? My demand lingers heavily in the air between us. She's flustered, the mask of perfect composure slipping. I don't know yet, but we'll figure something out, John. We always do. But not together. Not anymore. The words come out final, irrevocable. I can't trust you, Emily. This is something I can't just overlook. Her eyes widen, hurt flashing across her face. You're overreacting, John. It's just money. Just money? The disbelief in my voice is palpable. It was Emma's future, my daughter's dreams. The hurt is overwhelming, deepening with every dismissive word she utters. Around us, the party continues, a garish backdrop to the crumbling reality of our relationship. I feel like I can't breathe. I need air, space, time to think, away from this suffocating betrayal. I'm taking Emma home, I say coldly, my voice carrying a finality that brooks no argument. John, please. Emily's voice cracks, but I've already turned away. My decision is crystal clear. The drive home with Emma is heavy with silence. She senses the shift, her gaze worried. Dad, what's wrong? We'll talk at home, Pumpkin, I promise. My mind is a storm of anger, disappointment, and hurt. The trust I placed in Emily, in us, was misplaced. Now the path ahead is clear. Legal battles and protecting what matters most. Emma's future. No more blind trust. No more compromises. The fight to reclaim what was lost begins now. The days that follow blur into a relentless march of legal consultations and late nights filled with paperwork and planning. The moment I step into my lawyer's office, I am consumed by a singular goal: to secure Emma's future, which Emily put at risk with one selfish decision. It's a straightforward case of financial mismanagement, John, my lawyer assures me, her voice a steady beacon in the tumult of my emotions. We can prove that the funds were designated for Emma's education. As the legal wheels begin to turn, the strain of the impending court case weighs on every moment. Emily's attempts to reach out, her messages alternating between apologies and accusations, go unanswered. My focus is unwavering. Justice for Emma. The court date arrives. The room feels stark, the air thick with the weight of the decisions to be made. Emily sits across from me, looking worn, her eyes darting nervously. When she sees me, her shoulders slump slightly, perhaps realizing the finality of what's about to unfold. Mr. John, can you confirm that these funds were explicitly saved for your daughter's education? The judge asks, his voice cutting through the tense atmosphere. Yes, Your Honor. I reply, my voice steady. Every penny was meant for Emma's college. We've been planning her future since she was little. Emily's lawyer tries to paint it as a misunderstanding, an error in judgment from a mother trying to support her son. Your Honor, my client's intentions were not malicious, he argues. She only wanted to help both of their children equally. It wasn't her money to use, regardless of her intentions, my lawyer counters sharply, presenting bank statements, savings records, and the years of consistent contributions I had made for Emma's education. The judge listens, nodding slowly, his gaze shifting between us. He weighs the family's fractured bonds against the undeniable facts of the case. Finally, he speaks. Given the evidence presented, it's clear that Ms. Emily acted without Mr. John's consent. The funds were earmarked for Emma's education and must be replenished. The gavel falls, the sound echoing like a shot through my heart. But it's also the sound of a door swinging open to a future I can still protect for Emma. Outside the courtroom, relief washes over me, though it's mixed with an undeniable sense of loss. I watch Emily as she walks away, her shoulders hunched, burdened by the consequences of her choices. Dad, is it over? Emma's voice pulls me from my thoughts. She looks up at me, her eyes searching for reassurance in this sea of change. It's over, pumpkin. We won. I wrap an arm around her, pulling her close. It's just us now, and I'm going to make sure nothing like this ever happens again. As we walk away, the legal victory feels hollow compared to the personal losses. The divorce proceedings will continue, another chapter of closure yet to be written. But for now, I focus on the relief in Emma's smile, the strength in her step beside me. We're moving forward, together, stronger and wiser. The lessons of trust and vigilance etched deep into the path ahead. The last remnants of the tumultuous months slowly come to an end as Emily, reluctantly, puts the car up for sale, the very car that started it all. I've heard from mutual acquaintances that she's moved back in with her parents. It feels like a step backward for her, but perhaps it's a necessary one, giving her time to reflect on the choices she made and the consequences that followed. In the quiet of the evening, Emma and I sit on the porch watching the sun set, a soft promise of a new beginning. She's poring over college brochures, her excitement evident, a stark contrast to the tense silences that had once filled our home. "Dad, do you think I'll get into a good college?" she asks, her voice tinged with uncertainty. "Emma, with your grades and your drive, they'd be lucky to have you," I say, smiling at her. But beneath the reassurance, I'm reminded of how fragile promises and plans can be. These past months have taught me lessons I never wanted to learn. About betrayal, about how easily trust can shatter. Yet, they've also underscored the importance of resilience and the unwavering need to protect those we love. As Emma and I rebuild our lives, our conversations about the future become more frequent, stitched together by shared experiences and a renewed sense of purpose. "I'm thinking of majoring in biochemistry. What do you think?" Emma's voice pulls me back from my thoughts, her eyes sparkling with curiosity. "That sounds fantastic, Emma." "It's a challenging field, but I know you've got what it takes," I reply, pride swelling in my chest. She's grown into such a determined young woman, so different from the little girl who once clung to my hand with wide-eyed trust. As night falls, I reflect on the lessons these tough times have brought to the surface. Financial prudence is essential, yes, but so is the wisdom in knowing who to trust. The betrayal had cut deep, but it hadn't severed the roots I planted for Emma's future. Instead, it reinforced them, made them stronger and more resilient. The next morning, Emma and I visit a few colleges. We walk through campuses bustling with energy and potential. Her laughter floats through the crisp autumn air, a sound that heals some of the pain lingering from the past. "Dad, after all that's happened, how do you keep from being bitter?" Emma asks as we sit beneath a towering oak on one of the campuses. I pause, choosing my words carefully. "Life throws a lot at us, Emma. We can let it make us bitter, or we can learn from it and grow. I choose to grow, for you and for me." She nods, understanding far more than her years should allow. "I want to be like that too," she says softly. As we pack up from our day of college tours, I realize that despite the challenges Emily's actions brought into our lives, the ordeal had taught us invaluable lessons. It wasn't just about recovering what was lost financially, it was about nurturing the trust and bonds that truly mattered. Looking ahead, the horizon feels filled with hope. Emma's future is bright, and the bond we've strengthened through adversity feels unbreakable. As we drive home, our conversation flows easily from college plans to the little things in life, a testament to our enduring connection. This journey, while painful, has prepared us for whatever comes next. Together, fortified by the trials we face, Emma and I are ready to take on new horizons, knowing that whatever challenges lie ahead, we have the strength to meet them head-on. Now, I have a question for you all. Do you think it's ever justified to use someone else's money without their permission if you believe it's for the benefit of your family? Emily took a huge step without consulting John, thinking it was best for Jake. What are your thoughts on this? Please share your opinions in the comments below.